Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're trying a new concealer that I have been so excited to try. This is the new Victoria Beckham Concealer Pen in collaboration with Augustinus Bader, and I cannot wait. I love this brand. I get so excited for new launches from Victoria Beckham Beauty, and we're gonna try it out. I just got it in the mail a few minutes ago, so I haven't even opened it yet. So this is going to be my first time trying it, using it, giving you my first impression. And of course, I'm going to wear it all day and give you my thoughts as the day goes on. So that is today's video. If you are new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on YouTube. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into the video. All right, I just applied some foundation and now we're going to go into this concealer. So this is the Victoria Beckham X Augustinus Bader Concealer Pen. If you're not familiar with Augustinus Bader, he is a physician, biomedical scientist, and he is famous for his TFC8 complex that is integrated in all of his skincare products. You've probably seen his skincare in Sephora. It's in a bright blue bottle and it's very popular. It's very expensive. It's very luxurious. But all of his products have the TFC8 complex in it. I did look up what TFC stands for because I was not sure, and it's a trigger factor complex, which is basically a group of amino acids, peptides, and vitamins that are already occurring in the skin that help aid in cellular repair. There's a lot more online, a lot of scientific things that I won't get into, but basically he is known for the TFC8 complex that's in all of his skincare products. This is, for that reason, I would assume, a very expensive and luxurious price point. This little concealer pen retails for $68. Very pricey, very expensive, but it has a lot of claims. It's supposed to basically transform your under eyes, according to the claims on victoriabeckhambeauty.com. Concealer pen, after 4 weeks of use, per the website, says the concealer pen shows visible improvement of fine lines and wrinkles. It diminishes dark circles and it decreases under eye puffiness. And this is a study they did after 4 weeks of use. The concealer pen also improves the appearance of hyperpigmentation, which those are all very bold claims. Now this concealer comes in 16 shades and it's supposed to be a light to medium coverage. I am assuming it's going to be on the lighter side just because typically products like this that are concealer pens, they don't typically have a ton of coverage. So I'm assuming you would have to build it up quite a bit to get to that medium coverage level, but we will test that out today. So I got the shade L1, which is described as light with neutral undertones. And I did think it was interesting in the description of this concealer on the website. It does say that most of the shades have a neutral undertone, making them more versatile in terms of flexibility with the shade range. So 16 shades, I'm assuming going to be a lighter coverage product. So 16 shades is not many, but they're saying that they're pretty flexible in terms of who could use what shade. This is shade L1. So I'm going to start clicking this. It says you're going to have to click it a bunch of times at first to get the product. None yet. All right, there it is. I see it starting to come out. Okay, let me swatch this for you. I'm hoping, okay, this does look like a good shade actually. So this is shade L number 1, and right off the bat, I will say that does look like a neutral undertone, which I'm very happy about. Neutral undertones are not typically easy to come by, so that is it kind of blended out. So it's a very thin feeling texture, kind of feels like an eye cream, honestly. All right, I think that's going to be a good shade match because I just kind of blended it in with my finger. It feels kind of like an eye cream, a thinner eye cream. It doesn't look to be super luminous, but definitely not matte either. It looks more of a natural finish on the back of my hand. If you're familiar with my videos, you know I always use an under eye corrector under my concealer, and I'm going to do that today, but I'll only do it on one eye just to see if it makes a really big difference. Just because I'm assuming that's how I would personally wear this product, I very rarely use a concealer without a corrector under my eyes because I have blue and purple there, as you can see, and I also have like a tiny bit of melasma right here as well. So I always pair my concealer with a corrector first, but I'll just do it on one eye so we can see the difference. So let's go in. I'm just going to use the one that I have sitting out here. So I'm going to use this one from Huda Beauty and apply that to my left eye. And I'm just going to tap that in with this brush from Refer. This is the B05. It's a small little angled brush. All right, now that I've got my corrector on this side, I am going to go in with the concealer pen on this side first. And we'll see what kind of coverage we get. So this is not going to be a super brightening shade on me, but that's good for me. I actually don't love a bright shade under my eyes. I like something that matches my skin tone a little bit better. So I'm going to apply about that much. And I'm going to let it sit for a minute before we blend it in so it can get a little bit tacky. Usually that helps you get a little bit more coverage from the product. So I'm going to let it sit for about 30 seconds or so. All right, I'm going to blend with the N14 brush from BK Beauty and just start tapping this in. Now, I did notice online they do suggest to use your fingers with this, which you absolutely could if you like using your fingers. I do not like using my fingers for concealer. I like brushes, so I'm going to use a brush, but they do suggest using your finger. Okay, so very easy to blend in for sure. So there it is on that eye. In terms of the consistency, it's not a super thin, more fluid texture. It's thin in consistency, but it has a little bit more heft to it. It's not super thin like the Tower 28 concealer that moves quite a bit because this formula is so thin. It's on the thinner side, but it has a little bit of a tackiness to it, like an eye cream kind of, which I personally like. I prefer a formula like that. So that's a little bit about the texture of it. But there it is on that eye with the corrector. From a distance, from my mirror right here, it looks really nice. The color is actually perfect, and that makes me so happy because I was really nervous about what color to get. I thought this would be the right one, but sometimes in that case, I'll just get more than one. But this concealer was $68, so I was not going to get two of them. But I'm happy to say I think that shade is actually really, really good for me. So far, I think it looks beautiful under my eyes. It's definitely got a little bit of a luminous look to it right now, but it doesn't look over the top luminous. It just has a little bit of a sheen, but it looks beautiful over that Huda corrector for sure. And actually the coverage is decent. Now, of course, we do have the corrector underneath. We'll see what it looks like over here with nothing, but on top of that, it looks really, really nice. I would say it's like a true solid medium coverage right now. Definitely doesn't cover every little bit, but I would not expect a product like this to do that, even with a color corrector underneath. But it's laying really nice and smooth under my eyes. All right, let's go in on the other eye with the concealer pen with nothing underneath. So this eye, we also have the blue darkness, and then I also have a little bit of melasma right here. So I'm curious how this will do over that with no corrector. I love the undertone of this shade because it truly is neutral. And I'm telling you, nowadays it is hard to find a neutral undertone in a foundation or a concealer. So I'm gonna kind of apply it in the same areas on this eye that I did on the other eye. And I'm gonna let it sit again for about 30 seconds. And now I'm just gonna start tapping that in with the same brush. I really, really like the consistency of this because it's thin and lightweight feeling, but yet it doesn't look like nothing under the eyes. Sometimes concealer pens like this really aren't much more than like a highlighter for under the eyes, or a brightener, I should say. But this one actually looks like it's providing some coverage. All right, so there it is under that eye with no corrector. Yeah, the coverage is definitely more than I thought it was going to be, especially just on its own right here. I would say it's like a light medium. I think it's slightly more than light coverage, not quite a medium coverage with nothing underneath. With the corrector, I think it's closer to medium, maybe not a full medium, but closer to it than the one with nothing underneath. But I love the finish of it. Now that this side has had a little bit of time to set down, it still has like a slight luminosity to it, but not like dewy. It just has a little bit of a sheen like natural skin has. Natural skin has that little bit of sheen. It's not dewy, but it's not matte and flat, you know? Naturally, I think based on just after applying it, I prefer the side with the corrector underneath, but that's just a personal preference. Not everybody needs a corrector. I am just someone who always uses one, and I think it works the best for my under eyes. But I like both sides, and I love how it's sitting under my eyes. Doesn't look heavy, doesn't look cakey, provided a little bit of coverage. There's like a slight luminosity to it that's really beautiful. I like it. I like it so far. I want to see how this wears though. I'm actually also going to try a little bit of it on my face just to add a little bit more coverage. The foundation I used left a lot of my pigment here kind of peeking through, so I'm gonna apply some of this there just to kind of see. I would say that the shade is really nice. It's not a brightening shade for me though, so just keep that in mind. I mean, it matches pretty well to the foundation. Like you really can't see it very much, which I prefer. But if you're looking for a brightening shade and you're around my skin tone, this is not gonna be it. This is definitely pretty close to my natural skin color. All right, I'm just using my foundation brush and tapping that in. All right, so I blended it in on my skin, and I mean, it blended in beautifully. The finish on this is stunning, stunning. I love that slight luminosity, like an eye cream. That's kind of, I think that's why I thought of an eye cream initially when I was swatching it, because it has the feel of an eye cream with pigment in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup. I guess I'll leave it in and I'll just kind of speed through it, and you can watch if you want, or you can skip ahead if you don't want to see that. And then I'll show you what it looks like at the end. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to set this at all or if I'm just gonna leave it. We might set one eye and not set the other, but I'm gonna do some of my makeup and I'll come back and do that with you in a minute. All right, so I've done some bronzer and some blush. I used both from Victoria Beckham, and we are gonna set just one side of my under eyes, and I'm gonna use this. This is the new Tower 28 powder in the pink Palisades color. I really, really like this. I've been testing it for a week or so. So I think we'll set the side that we use the corrector with, and we'll leave this one just by itself. But let me go over the under eye quickly and just make sure there's no like creasing or anything. And now we'll go in with the powder. I should probably maybe use a puff, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna use this brush from Sigma, and I'm not using a lot of the powder. I'm just using a little bit of it. So there it is with just a little bit of powder. And we'll leave this side on its own for now. All right, I'm gonna finish the rest of my face. All right, I finished the rest of my makeup. I used pretty much all of my Victoria Beckham products for the most part. I'll have everything I used linked in the description box as well. But let's talk about the concealer. I fear that I love this. This concealer looks beautiful under my eyes. Both of them, even the side with just concealer, no powder or corrector underneath, still looks good. It is not full coverage. It's not even totally medium coverage. Like you can still see some of my darkness peek through. It's a very, like you can still see a little bit of the melasma right there, but it looks so like a your skin, your under eyes, but better kind of product. And so far, we'll see how it wears. Obviously, that I don't know. But this is just my kind of makeup look, makeup product. Typically, I do like a concealer with more coverage, but this is a great, easy, everyday, lightweight, just kind of lightly evening out your skin type of product. This is not going to be a full coverage product. It's not going to be something I would reach for when I'm doing my makeup for a special occasion, most likely, but absolutely for an everyday product, I could definitely see myself continuing to use this on a daily basis. But those are my thoughts. I really don't have anything negative to say at this point. I think it looks absolutely beautiful under my eyes so far. So I'm gonna wear this makeup all day long and we'll do a few check-ins as always. I'll go out and get in some natural light so you can see it there as well. But it looks stunning as of right now, in my opinion. But I'll see you in a few hours. All right, it's been about 4.5 hours since I applied this makeup, and this is just natural light that I just wanted to show you quickly. So this is the eye with no corrector and no powder. This is the eye with corrector and powder. And honestly, I mean, it looks really good. I mean, we have like a little bit of creasing right here, but that's pretty typical, like up there where I have tiny little fine lines, but nothing like significant really. It all looks pretty good, and you can still see a little bit of like my hyperpigmentation right there, but This is not a full coverage product, so I'm not surprised about that. But overall, I mean, it's wearing very well. I think it looks really nice still. I am pretty impressed with this so far, but I just wanted to check in. I'm probably gonna wear this for another 3.5 to 4 hours. So I'll show you at least one more check-in, and then we'll kind of close out the video. But honestly, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I'm impressed. All right, it's the end of the day and it's been on for about almost 8 hours, a little bit less than what I would have liked, but today has just been a really busy day and I haven't had much chance to sit down and film a ton of check-ins. But let's talk about the concealer. The concealer looks beautiful. It really does. I was sitting here looking at it close up before I started this clip, and truly, I mean, it looks so stunning under my eyes. And this is after 8 hours. By the end of the day, under your eyes, regardless of what concealer we're talking about, usually they start to look like they've been on for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. You know, they look a little bit dry. Things are a little bit separated, just not as smooth as they were when you applied the product. But honestly, this looks almost identical to how it looked earlier today, 8 hours ago. Like, it looks smooth, and truly both sides look good. Even the side with no powder and no corrector, which is this one, looks really good. Like, the product is not breaking up. I mean, there's maybe on both eyes, this is kind of where I get creasing if I get it. I have maybe just like a little bit right here, but I'm talking like fine little minimal creases up there where my lash line is, because that's where I have majority of those tiny little fine lines. But I'm super happy with how it looks. Like, I don't look at this and think, oh, I don't have enough coverage under my eyes, or it looks dry or cakey. It looks really nice. It does. And look, this is an expensive product. It pained me, to be honest, to pay $68 for a concealer pen. But I was going to do it because I try pretty much all the Victoria Beckham Beauty products, and I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised by this. I was fully prepared to be like, it's good, but it's nothing revolutionary, you know? But this is really nice. The coverage is very good for this type of product. Typically, a concealer pen like this is more of like a brightener or a very, very light coverage in a product like this. But this gives decent coverage. Like, even the side with no corrector still looks pretty good. Now, is it full coverage? No. So if you are looking for a lot of coverage under the eyes, even with a corrector underneath, you're not going to get full coverage from this. So if that's what you like and that's what you're looking for, this is not going to be for you. But if you like a very easy, everyday type of makeup product, it feels kind of like a tinted eye cream. That's kind of what I would equate it to. Like, the texture, that's what it reminds me of. It's like a lighter weight cream, gel cream with pigment. And you know, the price, $68, I am assuming majority of the price is coming from the fact that, number one, Victoria Beckham Beauty is more of a luxurious high-end brand anyway. And then this concealer was made in collaboration with Augustinus Bader, which is, you know, his skincare products. If you've been in Sephora, his moisturizer, the Rich Cream, I want to say is like $300, maybe $400, something, somewhere around there, because of the TCF8 complex with the amino acids and the vitamins and the peptides. I think it's like all of those things together, supposed to help with cell rejuvenation under the eyes and the aging process. So I'm assuming that's where majority of the price is coming from. Now, it makes a lot of claims about results you would see after 4 weeks as well. So less darkness, less fine lines, less hyperpigmentation, less puffiness under the eyes. Obviously, I have not tried it for that amount of time, so I could not speak to that. I will definitely keep using it, and you know, I'm not going to use it every day because it's just not realistic for what I do. I try new things all the time, but I am going to keep using this, and I'll let you know what I think in a few weeks after I've had more time. But so far, I gotta say, I could see this being like an everyday staple for me, like something I would reach for all the time because the wear is beautiful. The coverage is not full, but it's enough. It's enough for every day and what I typically do with my makeup. So if you have more mature skin or you just like something that doesn't look super makeup-y, you would probably really like this. Now, only you can decide if it's worth the price. It's very expensive, I agree. It's very expensive, but I will say I spent my money on it and I don't regret it. I think it looks stunning and I'm really happy with it. I have shade L1 and this is a really great shade match for me as well. If you want a brightening shade and you use me as a shade reference, that one is not going to be a brightening shade. I would go a little bit lighter if that's what you're wanting. But overall, I gotta say, honestly, my whole face, all my makeup has worn incredibly well today, and a lot of it is Victoria Beckham Beauty. So I will have everything that I used linked in the description box with shades and everything. I hope maybe this was helpful for you. I know a lot of you wanted to know my thoughts on this, so I hope this was helpful, but I do think it's a beautiful product and I do really like it so far. But thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I do also have a membership now, the BU Beauty Club, where I just do a lot of very chatty, get ready with me style videos. I just started my membership, but that's what you can expect from my membership, and I'd love to have you there if you are interested. If you're not already, make sure to follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1, and I will see you again very soon. Remember, simply be you. Bye.